Well, let me begin it by the way. I might be the only one from Berlin around this table, but though I am the only one from the place where the wall was placed, I am not going to speak about the wall. It is because it is my suspicion that future historians, several decades from now, will look at the wall as a phony, the fall of the wall as a phony watershed, which is not appropriate to punctuate the flow of history. Because there was a common ground between East and West. And the common ground was that both the Eastern hopes and the Western hopes were based and deeply rooted in the fossil age. More so even, yesterday people spoke about the 30 glorious years after the war. Future historians will see that these were the most wasteful years in human history, which pulverized, if you want, the treasuries of oil we did have in the crust of the earth. So let me put it a different way. I think the entire issue of capitalism here and socialism there will remain a 18th century, 19th century and 20th century issue. And maybe future history and historians will say, you know, the real distinction in recent human history is the distinctions between a fossil age and a solar age. We did have a first solar age before the advent of industrialization, and we are going to have a second solar age. And the social implications are maybe more important than the social implications alluded to when we speak about capitalism and socialism. Now, looking back into European history, it's pretty clear that Europe moved into the center of world history since 1800 for that reason. Till 1800, the world was pretty equal. After 1800, for two reasons, England and Europe had its rise. The first was, of course, to tap into coal and the fossil resources sitting there in the crust of the earth. China at that time was not able to do that. Second, of course, England reached out to other countries in the world and expanded its limited land by acquiring virtual land in North America and Central America and the Caribbean and so on and so forth. So, looking back, the rise of Euro-Atlantic civilization was very much based, on the capacity to mobilize resources from the depth of geological time, the one hand, and to mobilize resources from the vastness of geographical space. That's my first point of the 4 points I would like to give you to consider. The second point is, well, today we know this part of European history has to be seen as a special case because today the resources are not there anymore to imitate the same kind of development. We will have to agree that maybe 200 years of European history are nothing but a parenthesis in world history, which has been said at the beginning. Hobsbawm said at the very beginning that imitation of past developments is over, and that is, of course, the case centrally from the ecological point of view, because it is difficult to see how the automobile society, how high-rise housing, how chemical agriculture, how meat-based food system can be spread across the globe. That would cost too much resources, it's getting too expensive, it ruins ecosystems. So the forms, and I think that is important at that point, the forms of wealth, the models of well-being, which have come to dominate the imagination of the world, are structurally incapable of justice. The moment you want to democratize them, you are going to send the earth down the river.